The valedictorian for this year has been a student in Bushland schools for 10 years. He has participated in many activities and organizations throughout his high school career. He has been active in football and track, where he was selected first team all-district and academic all-state his senior year. He was also active in theater department, participating in UIL one-act play. He has served on student council for all 4 years, National Honor Society, and is a member of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. He plans on attending Texas A&M University in the fall and majoring in biology. He was recognized as a superintendent scholar for the past 8 semesters and received several subject-specific awards as voted on by his teachers. This year's valedictorian carries a weighted GPA on a 5-point scale of 4.6200. He is the son of the late Sherry Gillette and the grandson of Dwayne and Margaret Herring. Ladies and gentlemen, our 2014 valedictorian, Mr. Brian Gillette.
Good evening, class of 2014. I was first told to speak about the future that has inevitably presented itself to us tonight, but it forced me to question how one could speak of an imminent forthcoming without first addressing the past that brought us to where we are today. I believe that we are who we are in this moment now because of the people that God placed in our lives. I believe that the futures each and every one of us hold are only obtainable because of those who have guided us all this while. I believe that although most of you remember me for what I have lost, it is important to know who picked me up so that I may best be remembered now for what I have gained. Kim Sims. Familiar to most of you as the middle school nurse, this person has lifted me up from all the times that I have been in need. From the night I called her crying after learning of my mother's death, to this very instant now as I stand before this crowd. She has and always will be one of the greatest factors that have pushed me into the man I am today. She is my mother on earth, and my adoration for her is unfathomable. Coach Flowers, Phyllis Cornelius, Mandy Browning, Miss McCowan, Miss Pearson, J.J. Chapman. These are just a few people among many who have urged me forward when I thought that my life was over. I remember a few days after my mom died, JJ whispered to me that I was gold to her. It is the little things that yield the greatest impacts, and I will never forget that moment when I perceived myself worthy enough to make something of the life that I was left with. Not to mention my precious and wonderful grandparents. Letting all 4 of us continue to go to Bushland, it is in this way that they allowed my sisters and I to continue moving forward with the lives that we are most familiar with. As sad and agonizing as it may have been, having lost both my mother and father in one night, it is something that I have learned to use as motivation, something I have learned to embrace and utilize. My mother was 100 people in one, and I strive to be the person she was every day. So before I continue, let it be known that without the support I was blessed with by God, I would be listening to this speech rather than giving it, and perhaps my collar would be a little less decorated than it is now. While some people might cling to the notion that we are all limited by the genes and intelligence that we are born with, I have formed an opinion of my own. I have formed an opinion that we can make anything of our lives if we just believe in it. I am standing before all of you not because I am the smartest in the grade, but because I set my mind to something and I made it a reality. Truly, we can hardly comprehend the number of times that we have heard Coach Pearson preach to us about how our decisions are everything. Not to mention the wall in his classroom that writes, "Every choice you make has consequences." We all know that Coach Pearson can talk about anything, and yes, for an extensive period of time. But understand that there is truth to his wisdom. Understand that what we decide to do right now, tonight, tomorrow, or in a month, will in some way, not necessarily one that we know, have a consequence, good or bad. So make the best of it. Make a poor choice, suffer the consequence, and jump right back up. We all make bad decisions, but it is in the way that we recover that defines us. The prominence of our futures are only limited by us. We are our own greatest advocates, and yet we are our greatest enemies as well. It is never too late to change. If any of us even live to be 80, we have 62 years of life yet to live and make the most of. Because we've only lived about 22.5% of our lives, imagine what we can still accomplish if we begin now. It is never too late to change, and it is never too late to make a difference. My favorite NBA basketball player and professional athlete, Kevin Durant, was recently nominated as this year's MVP. When he walked up to the podium, he first thanked God for changing his life, and he recognized that basketball was just a platform that allowed him to inspire people. He inspires me every day, and I believe that my life is one that can relate to his. Like the song, and like my sister said, we started from the bottom and now we're here. This is with the exception that I have only accomplished little in comparison to the intent of my future. Kevin Durant knew nothing of a perfect family, and he gave credit to those who supported him on his journey to the top. As he came to the conclusion of his speech, he addressed his mother as the ultimate MVP. Without her, he would not have been standing where he was then, and neither would I. My mother hasn't been with me during my journey, like the way you are all with me now, but she is in my heart, and her soul lives within me. Indeed, she has been with me, guiding my path, and indeed, she is my MVP. If you take anything from my attempt to inspire and persuade you into living a noble and fulfilling life, understand that above all else, just live a life that you want. Live a life without waiting. Live without waiting for the next best circumstance, and make the best circumstance from the life that you were given now. Live the rest of your life the way you imagined it when you were young and knew not about limitations, but about a life of endless opportunities. Perhaps I didn't follow my childhood passion because I don't intend on being a fireman, but perhaps my goals have taken more of an ambitious turn, one to be an orthodontist and to support a family of my own one day. Live the rest of your life knowing you won't look back and regret the path that you followed. I want to give a shout out to my best friends. I love you, Taylor Cornelius, and I love you, Grayson Sims and Hannah Rhodes. These people would do anything for me, and they deserve the very best. In addition, I must not forget about Emily Chapman, the one that knows me better than anyone in this room. She too has been there for me when I have needed it most. I must mention, when Taylor ends up in the NFL someday, forever remember tonight as one when his best friend foretold it. Because we live in a society nearly defined by what we view on social media, the quote that I will leave you with this evening was found from the renowned and illustrious Twitter. It wrote, "Know what you want. Clarity is power, and vague goals promote vague results. It is vital to remember this now at a time when life is seemingly pleasant, but more importantly, to remember this in the future when we find ourselves in a place that is difficult to see any light. During this time, we need to remember the people that brought us our way and understand that we all have a purpose in this ride we call life. It is now up to us to just live it. I love and miss you, Mom. This is all for you. Thank you."